Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 10 of Tour of Japan, the review series for Gran Turismo 6's GT300 and also GT500 Super GT racing machines. And in this episode we're featuring what could possibly be the most popular JGTC car in the game for most people. Not necessarily this specific version, because there are of course 4 different versions of this car, all of which will be reviewed at different times in this series, but today we are reviewing the silver Weider, however you say the company, I have no idea, but the Honda HSV-010. Now this is the lowest PP version of the 4 cars. Specs are very similar across all 4 versions. One of them of course is just a base model, so technically 3 versions. And all 3 are very, very strong track cars, not just in the GT500 class, but also beyond that. These cars are hugely competitive on Gran Turismo on pretty much any track. They have very strong performance, incredible handling, great brakes, one of the best sounding cars in the game as well. And an interesting little side note about the HSV-10s, they are the only JGTC cars on Gran Turismo which do not have a dedicated road-going model, which is interesting. It's always struck me as kind of strange that Honda never made a road version of the HSV-10. Perhaps they were just using it as a test car for the NSX, who knows. But they didn't, and that kind of adds a coolness factor to the car, and visually and mechanically it kind of comes across almost as the Honda equivalent of the Lexus LFA. Similar kind of sound, similar kind of shape, almost a similar overall style of performance. Of course, a lot faster than an LFA because of being a racing car. But what does the HSV-10 in general, but also specifically this version, have to offer? Well, mechanically it's a very strong all-round car. It's a premium model of course, so it gets the fully detailed interior treatment. It's powered by a 3.4 litre engine which puts out 881 brake horsepower fully tuned and 498 pound-feet of torque. It only weighs in 1100 kilos, so it is one of the lighter models of the GT500 class. And its PP is pretty high. It's not necessarily the highest of the JGTC cars, but it is very high at 655 PP fully tuned. The power to weight ratio as well is excellent on this model at 801 horsepower per tonne. So not surprisingly, it is a monstrous track car. Now the price is 980,000 credits. So it is the most expensive JGTC car in the game, not including the frankly pointless stealth models, which are no better than the normal cars. So discounting those versions, which of course aren't real anyway, this is the most expensive JGTC car in the game. So, being the most expensive, you'd expect it to be pretty good. Thankfully, it is pretty good. The handling is very well balanced. Surprisingly, for a lightweight car with a very rev-happy engine, there is actually very minimal wheel spin. You'd expect it, or I would have expected it anyway, to be shredding its tyres at every available opportunity because of having an engine which needs to be worked hard to get the best out of it. But it just doesn't do that. The handling is very good, very sharp, the turn-in is fantastic. As I already said earlier on in the video, the grip is just phenomenal on this car. The drivability as well is excellent. It's very easy to drive this car fast, which I believe is one of the reasons why so many people love driving it, because it's very, very beginner friendly and very forgiving. Again, perhaps surprisingly for a car with such a rev-happy engine. And overall, the performance across its entire range is very strong. Obviously its main attribute is acceleration, but the top speed isn't bad either. It's not the quickest of the Super GT class, but not the slowest either. On most tracks, the HSV-10 can keep up with, if not beat, most other JGTC cars. It's not miles better than other ones, but it can be better on a wide variety of tracks, and it's one of the best all-round Super GT cars in the game. Now, as far as this model specifically, as I said, it's got a slightly lower PP. The specs are a bit different on each car, but not that much. All three versions cost the same, they just look different, basically. Now, personally, I like the look of this car the best because the other two are just predominantly blue, whereas I prefer the silver because not so many people seem to go for it. But pretty much just choose whichever one you like the look of the best, because mechanically they are very, very similar, and in their driving style there's not that much difference between them. So overall, if you're looking for a strong all-round JGTC car, specifically in the GT500 class, but also just in general, and also a racing car that can compete not only within the Japanese class, but also globally against GT1 cars, or even in some cases prototypes, it's a very good car that's definitely worthy of anyone's racing attention. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.